Alright, so you want to know what to get your classic gamer friend for Christmas, somebody like me. Well, I've got a list of things here that, that I would love to have. But first of all, let's turn this off because apparently some people hear some really high-pitched buzzing noise, which I can't even hear it. I can't even hear it. So the first thing you should get your classic gamer friend for Christmas is, well, in my case, a haircut. But there are actually quite a few classic gamer collections that have come out in the past couple of months. One of which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, which has 13 games on it and will run you $25 to $40. Now, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection includes both of the original arcade games, 4 NES games, a couple of Super Nintendo games, a couple of Genesis games, a couple of Game Boy games. So that's a good value, actually, especially if you like Ninja Turtles. And you can get it for the Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox, whatever the current flavor of Xbox is these days. There's also the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which it's a new game, but it's kind of like a love letter to the original classic arcade games. And again, you can get that on all the modern systems for, I don't know, about $30, I think. Then there's also the Castlevania collection, which I hadn't heard of until recently. And that comes with 9 games that appeared on the original Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, and the Game Boy. And it looks like that's going for about $64. And then there's the Atari 50 collection, which I was a little wary of at first, but all of the reviews that I've heard about this say that it's really fantastic, so I'm really interested in this. And, if you want to send me a copy, then that's great. Or if you want to get your classic gamer friend a copy of it, that's okay too. And the Atari 50 collection looks like it's running $30 for the Switch and the PlayStation 4 and 5, I think. And then for some reason, the Xbox version is $40. I don't know why it's more expensive for the Xbox version, but, there you go. And then here's a couple of other games that might interest your classic gamer friend, like me. Front Mission, Joe and Mac, System Shock, Sonic Origins, Pac-Man World Repack, and whatever Mario game is out right now. Besides those specific games, you might want to check out this website called Limited Run Games, and they have a lot of remakes or rebuilds of original games that would have appeared on, like the Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. They remake them so that, if you weren't able to get it originally, then you can order it from them. And most of those games start at about $30 and kind of go up from there. Limited Run Games, you should check those guys out. Another website that you want to check out if you're looking for games for your classic gamer friend is the Atari Age website. Now, they make a lot of basically new games for the Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, Jaguar, Lynx, and they're professionally made, they're really nice, and if you're looking for something unique for your gamer friend, then you could do a lot worse than going to the Atari Age store. And most of the games there run between $20 and $200. Also, a lot of the games come in either boxes or loose, so sometimes you can get them for cheaper when it's just the game by itself, and a little bit pricier when you get the box. Of course, you could go to a classic game store in your town and get your friend an actual vintage NES game or Sega game or whatever, and they're not really that expensive. You can pay out the nose for certain games, but a lot of the common games make great gifts, and you never know, your classic gamer friend may not have that copy of Gyromite. And along those lines, you might want to check out the EverDrives, which are flash cartridges for the original systems like the Genesis and the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and they allow you to play pretty much any game that you want that was ever created for that system. Takes a little bit of technical prowess to get the ROMs and everything set up on there, but they're definitely worth it. But they are a little bit expensive, so if you want an EverDrive, check out Crix.com. Now let's talk about some systems that your friend might want, like me. Now there's a system that's been out, I guess about 2 years now, called the Evercade, and it allows you to play collections of games on actual cartridges. With sometimes they have 13, 20 some odd games on there, and there's a couple of different versions of the system. There's like the original one, I think that goes for like $100, and then there's the new EXP model, which I think goes for $150. Now both of these are little handheld units, but there's also a Evercade Versus system which will plug into your TV and I think that goes for $130. So yeah, the Evercade's a pretty neat little system. Another pretty cool system that's been released lately is the GRS Build-A-Cade by my friend Glenn over at Glenn's Retro Show. It's this little miniature arcade system. It runs about $100. You put it together yourself. You do have to have a Raspberry Pi in order to get it to run, but it also has these exchangeable control decks, which I gotta be honest, I think that was my idea because I did that for the arcade 1-ups where I wanted to switch out the control deck. It's pretty cool to be able to swap out, a joystick for a trackball or a spinner or something like that that would match the particular game that you're playing. Also, you could go, I guess it's kind of old school now, the arcade 1-ups. They run about $300 to $600 depending on, the one that you want to get. But yeah, those are a lot of fun, and if you got the coin to spend, $300 to $600 on them, then yeah, I think your classic gamer friend would enjoy those. There's also another arcade unit called the Legends Ultimate by At Games, and those things are a little bit more expensive, but they do have a lot more games on it than the arcade 1-ups do. Those go for about $400 to $700, and you can also get a pinball unit, which is pretty cool. That's something that I've been wanting for sure. So yeah, if you want to send me a pinball, please do. Those go for about $630 to $900. Then, of course, you've got the little mini systems like the Sega Genesis Mini 2, which was just recently released. But let me warn you, first of all, about the Sega Genesis Mini 2. I ordered one about a month ago, and it never arrived. I think FedEx lost it. It's probably in a little teeny tiny box and probably got shoved underneath the truck somewhere. And the other thing about the Genesis Mini 2 is, yeah, sure, you can order it for $100, but they're going to charge you $30 to ship it from Japan. It ends up being $130 instead of $100. Plus, FedEx might lose your package, so you're rolling the dice on that one. But there's other minis out there. Another one that I'm interested in is the Commodore 64 Mini. I don't even know if they make those anymore, but I just was looking at minis and I thought, man, that would be really, really cool. And I think that goes for about $40. Then there's also the Neo Geo Mini, again, came out a couple of years back. I think that goes for about $59. But yeah, it looks like a little cool system. Some of the minis are pretty good gifts. Another thing that might be interesting would be like a little portable game system. One that could actually play cartridges is called the Superboy, and I saw that going for $110 on this one particular website, and I think they're called a Flashback Limited. Other places I've seen it go for more, but this one had it for $110. But yeah, it would allow you to play like your Super Nintendo cartridges in there and take them with you wherever you want, because these are so portable. Another neat little game system that I saw were the new Game & Watches from Nintendo. Now they had a Zelda one and a Super Mario Brothers one, and they play NES games and Game Boy games. Yeah, it's the little card things like you remember back in the early 80s. Back then, the old ones were just little LCD games. They weren't the graphics weren't that great, but these are like full-on Game Boy and Nintendo games on there, and those go for about $43. Another one that looks pretty cool is the quarter arcades. Now those are a little bit more expensive. The one I saw was $170 for the Dig Dug, but they're about yay high, and they're basically just like miniaturized versions of the original arcade machine, right down to miniaturized controls and like the little quarter slot and everything else. But yeah, the quarter arcades, a little pricey, but they're pretty dang cool if you ask me. Does your classic gamer friend like toys and shirts? Well, there's a lot of Lego systems that have come out lately. There was the Lego Nintendo system that came out I think last year for $270. I think you'd still get that on the Lego store. But there was also the new Atari Lego system. I think that goes for $240, and that's really enticing. I mean, it looks amazing. The little front of the system pops open, so you have like this little scene in there. You have a couple of cartridges. It's pretty cool. And then there's also some other Lego stuff. There's like Lego Mario, Lego Bowser. There's like a Lego question block. And Legos are kind of expensive, but they don't lose their value. You can also get a shadow box for your friend. I saw these at Dragon Con and some other conventions where you have like Castlevania or Contra inside of them, and it has like this little scene from the game. Those are pretty cool, and they run from about $30 to $40. And of course, you could always get your gamer friend a shirt of some kind. I mean, there's endless video game shirts out there: Atari, Nintendo, Sega, even TurboGrafx-16. And then last year I came across some Nintendo plushies. Those are kind of cool. You got the Mario plushies and Bowser and Yoshi. Yoshi's my favorite, so if you want to get me a Yoshi, I'd appreciate that. But those run from, $20 to $30. Now, there have been a lot of books that have been released lately on classic video games. One of them is from Howard Scott Warshaw, Once Upon Atari, that runs about $15. But yeah, Once Upon Atari is Howard Scott Warshaw's memories of when he worked at Atari and, writing E.T. and stuff like that. Then there's the book called Creating Q*bert by Warren Davis, which recounts his story of how he got Q*bert made at Gottlieb. That runs for about $21. Then, of course, there's Phoenix by Leonard Herman. It's like 800 pages, runs for about $40. It's basically a Bible of the history of all video games. Then there is a couple of books by Tim Lapatino. Pac-Man Birth of an Icon runs for about $42. And then there's Art of Atari, which runs for about $37. Both of them are fantastic books by Tim. I've always really loved the Art of Atari book, just kind of perusing some of the art that was made for the system back in the day. Then there's the Ultimate NES Guide by Pat the NES Punk Contri. That runs for about $65. I've been really wanting to get this book, but it looks like it would break my coffee table. It's so heavy. And then Pat also wrote a Super Nintendo version of the book as well, and I think that runs for $62. And then if your classic gamer friend is into magazines, like I am, then there's a couple of options for you. One of them is the Old School Gamer magazine, and you can get 6 issues of that for $50. Or you could get Retro Gamer magazine. You can get a 13-issue subscription for $91, I think, roughly. It's a really good and professionally done magazine. So let me mention a couple things that, might also interest your classic gamer friend. One of which would be the RetroTink 2X, which is a way of hooking up your classic game consoles to your modern television. So yeah, you can play like, Nintendo and Genesis and TurboGrafx-16 and Super Nintendo, even Jaguar on your modern HD television with the RetroTink. And that goes for about $130. Also, you can get some 8-bit DOE controllers, which will hook into your classic game system if there's a little dongle. Or you can hook them up to, like a Bluetooth. I think you can play them on your phone if you wanted to. But they will give you like the real feel of the original controls. Now these controllers will run from, like $30 to $60, depending on the one that you get. Also, a competitor of 8-bit DOE is RetroBit, and they make a line of classic controllers as well. And those will hook into your original systems, or, you can hook them into your minis or stuff, something like that. And last but not least, let me also mention a website called Stone Age Gamer. They have a lot of classic video game stuff that you can get, accessories and things like that, that will expand the horizons of your classic gamer. There's too much stuff on there for me to even mention any of it, but just check out Stone Age Gamer's website. Whew, okay, well, I think that's gonna do it for the list of everything I could possibly think of. Whatever I missed, please let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.